Hi, I'm Lars.
And I'm Josh.
We just wanted to make this video to talk about our birth story while it's still fresh on our minds. I gave birth literally 6 days ago. Our little baby crew is only 6 days old.
I'm glad we're making this video because I really want to just remember the whole story of how it happened and
just all of our feelings.
Yeah. The best place to start is probably at 36 weeks when Lars started feeling some contractions.
It was my first time feeling contractions other than Braxton Hicks contractions. The contractions were pretty strong, so we decided to go to the hospital.
You're looking cute in your little gown. Am I gonna be in bed tonight?
They monitored me and my contractions were 3 minutes apart for 3 hours.
The monitors are here. These are the contractions.
It's happening right now, right?
Yeah, this is a contraction happening.
I can feel
This is the number going up.
It's not like very painful, but it definitely is like makes you flinch, you know. But then they checked me and I wasn't even dilated, and so it was a false alarm. But I guess it happens sometimes. It's called Prodromal Labor, where your body just is going into these like early labor contractions that actually aren't active labor contractions yet. I started getting those for the next few weeks. When my doctors would check me from 36 weeks to 39 weeks, she was like, it could happen anytime because your baby is dropped and your body's getting ready, going through these contractions. And so it was totally a waiting game and I never knew when it was gonna happen.
When was it that she checked you and then she said you were dilated 1.5?
So I was 39 weeks, I was dilated to 1.5 and the baby was fully engaged. We were trying to kick my body into like high gear so we go into labor, and me and my mom did some squats and we walked through the North Shore bike path and we were walking along the beach in the deep sand trying to get my body to go. I think that definitely helped.
Alright, we got Lauren some spicy pineapple curry to get this baby out of here.
Hopefully this is the trick.
So on January 16th, I woke up and at around 11 a.m. I started feeling pretty intense contractions, like stronger than anything I've ever felt.
You got this, girl. Keep up the good work. Baby will be here before we know it. You're doing great.
And so I was like, man, this is crazy. So let's start timing them. And so we started timing them. I think they're around 4 minutes apart at this point.
Been getting some consistent contractions.
My mom's the best friend my back. So because our birth center is an hour away, we wanted to be down there before the contractions got too crazy. So we decided to go down to the little beach town where our hospital is called Kailua, and I labored on the beach. I literally made a fool of myself on the beach. Josh was doing counter pressure on my back really hard. My doula showed up, Shannon Tripp. She's amazing.
Not a bad place to be in labor.
She helps me walk the beach, and me and my mom walk the beach.
Beautiful. Your Lauren's beautiful. We're gonna have a baby! I'm gonna cry.
And I was just getting such a workout in. I was going through crazy contractions. I was so tired.
That belly's about to pop. Labor's been really hard so far.
I can tell you're exhausted.
Then we went to Whole Foods.
Then we went to Whole Foods. She was skipping down the aisles and we were walking around. You were walking on the curbs. They say, I guess it helps the baby work its way down. She's looking really good. Look at that little hip swing. Baby crew's gonna be out in no time. And we'd been there all day. It was getting dark. At this point, you were thinking, okay, let's go in. I'm probably dilated enough.
I don't think in my entire life I've felt that emotionally drained before, just because I did not want to go to the hospital to get sent home, but I felt anxiety going home when I was going through such crazy contractions. I just decided I gotta go. I'm gonna have so much anxiety if we go home. So we went to the hospital and my contractions were 3 minutes apart. When I got there, And then my body was so exhausted, I started falling asleep. Then my contractions went to 8 minutes apart when I fell asleep. Then they checked me for dilation and I was at a 2.5. My mom always said that she got admitted when she was at a 3. And so I was like, oh man, I'm so close to being a 3, but I'm not there yet. And so they sent me home.
Yeah, we were there. They said they were gonna watch us for another hour to see if things progressed. They didn't progress. They actually started getting worse because I think you're just so tired at that point.
I don't think my body could have pushed out a baby at that point because I had worked it so much throughout the day. I was just exhausted. At that moment, I did not want to get sent home. I was like, I've been working so hard to get this baby out all day. Like I was like so discouraged to get sent home. But looking back, I'm so grateful I got sent home because I wasn't in a good headspace to give birth that night. Like I was just too emotionally drained.
Yeah, you were tired.
Yeah, and so it ended up being a blessing in disguise. And the ladies at the hospital, they were like, it's happening in the next couple of days. The next morning, I wake up, they are intense. Like they are crazy intense. Josh was like pounding on my back. When we were first timing them, they were like 6 minutes apart. And then they got to 4 and 5 minutes apart.
We were just like, all right, let's just work this baby out a little bit more. You were walking upstairs.
I started doing squats, and when I would do that, they would get to be like 2 to 3 minutes apart. And so it totally depended if I was like being active. The contractions were gnarly. Josh and I just felt really strongly that I should rest, and I'm so glad I did because I took a 3-hour nap. The contractions would wake me up like every 5 to 10 minutes, but I was able to like rest, and it ended up being such a blessing that I had that nap because it really helped me have more energy when I woke up.
Later on that night, we had dinner. We were just thinking maybe it's not happening today, so we decided to watch What to Expect When You're Expecting. I'd never seen the movie before. It was funny.
We just decided, let's just go to bed.
So it's like 11:30 on the 17th. We get ready for bed, and like 5 minutes after laying down, Lauren just feels the contractions coming on so hard. You were just like, I think it's happening. We start asking Lauren's mom what she thinks.
And I'm practically like crying through these contractions. I was like, can we just like say a prayer? Because I would feel so stupid if I would get sent home again. And so we say a prayer with Josh and my mom. And while we were saying the prayer, I had this like picture pop into my head that was like, oh man, I could not give birth in the car. Like, okay. So this picture of me giving birth in the car just like popped into my head. And I was like, I can't give birth in the car. I think we should go. And Josh was like, do you think we should time it out a little bit? And I was like, no, I think we gotta go. I was just like, okay, this better be happening. Then I think it was like when we were in the car that Josh thought it was actually happening too.
Seemed
Yeah,
rough.
I was like screaming. I would be holding on to Josh while he was driving. I just remember feeling like I'm about to have a baby. Like it felt like it would come out in the car. I started like calling the contractions my friend. I was like, oh crap, no wait, this is my friend. This is my friend that's coming to push out the baby.
The contractions.
Yeah, there was like no doubt in my mind that it was happening, but then there was doubt in my mind at the same time. It was a weird feeling.
We get to the hospital, we get all our bags.
At this point, it's January 18th because it was early morning, and I look at my phone and it's 1:18.
So January 18th, 1:18 in the morning. So 1:18.
Yeah, that was
Meant
like,
to be.
it does feel like it was meant to be though.
Walking into the hospital. This might be it. Take filmers.
I'm exhausted from contractions, but I'm really excited.
It's the 18th, January 18th. We got here at 1:18 a.m.
I think that's a good omen.
Let's have this baby.
Oh.
We get to the doors where you're walking into the birth center, and Lauren starts having a contraction there. You can just tell she's in so much pain. It's like, we walk into the hospital doors, and every other time the nurses have stopped us and asked for our name or ID or stuff like that. But I think they knew that she was in serious labor, so they just buzzed the doors open. Before, they would take us to a littler room where we'd fill out paperwork and they would monitor us. But this time, I think they just knew this was happening and they took us right to the birthing room and started getting things ready.
Let's cut through here.
And at this point, it's 1:45 when they check me for dilation, and I'm already dilated to a 5. So I was like, man, I've been in active labor like this whole day probably. Literally right after they checked me, my water broke. Water just broke. Which was such a crazy feeling because it felt like a balloon had like popped inside of me. And it didn't hurt at all or anything. It was just like a weird feeling, but I knew it was my water because it was like an explosion of water. I was so grateful that we left when we did, because if we had left even like 20 minutes later, it would have broken in the car, which would have been
a mess.
Yeah, that would have been crazy and just scarier, I feel like. I'm glad that it happened the way it did.
At the hospital, once her water broke, you could tell that her contractions were really heavy. You were just doing everything you could to get through them. Very painful, but you were doing great.
Oh, thanks.
Here we are, between contractions.
It's starting again.
Slow breath, nice and steady. Just like that.
I had learned a lot of breathing techniques since I was really trying to breathe through them. I think I was doing good, but at the same time they were just like so crippling. At that point I was like, I think I need an epidural. I feel like normally I would have looked over at Josh and be like, do you think I should get the epidural? Because we really didn't want to get it until the baby had made like a lot of progress. And I think my normal self, if Josh would have said, just hold off a little longer, I would have, for sure, because I really value his opinion. But at that point, I did not want his opinion. I was just like, I'm getting the epidural. Like, I'm doing this.
It was a 3:20 when the anesthesiologist came.
That was pretty intense getting the epidural too. Like for me, because I'm scared of needles. I don't know, how was it for you?
Yeah, it was scary because everybody says that if you move or something, then you could be paralyzed. But one of the things that he was saying is that the chances of something like that happening are very slim. So
super
kind of,
rare.
Yeah, he kind of calmed our nerves about a lot of the scary things about getting an epidural.
I asked him all the questions because I was nervous to get the epidural too. I just felt really good about it, and you just gotta do what feels good, what you feel like your body needs. I feel like that's the most important part and what can put you in a positive headspace too. They say it usually takes like 30 minutes to kick in, but then on one of my sides, it took a while to kick in, so I was feeling like half the contractions for a while. And then I think around 4 a.m. is when it was like fully kicked in. Hello! So I didn't get the epidural until 7 centimeters dilated, and I'm super proud of myself for going that long because I didn't know I was that dilated without an epidural. But okay, I gotta say the epidural is so nice.
Gonna have a baby.
I can't believe it. It's seriously so amazing. I just can't wait to meet him.
Yeah.
From 4 to 5, my mom and Josh slept. I probably slept for 10 or 15 minutes, which actually like really helped. And my mom and Josh were able to sleep for an hour. I felt really glad that they could at least sleep for an hour. So the reason why I could only sleep for 10 or 15 minutes was because they told me if you start feeling like this pooping sensation, sorry if that's like TMI, that the baby's coming, like the baby's pushing down, and that's exactly what I started feeling. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is it. And I honestly was just getting so excited that I couldn't sleep. It felt like Christmas morning to me because at that point I felt like I could handle the contractions, and I was just imagining our baby coming, and I was getting like really excited. A little bit before 5, I called the nurse and I was like, I'm feeling this sensation that I have to poop like really intensely. And so she's like, okay, I'm gonna come check you. And so she checked me. She's like, yep, you're fully dilated, but we need to wait for you to push until your antibiotic is fully in your system, which won't be until around 6. At that point, I had been texting my friends who were going to take photo and video. They showed up around 5. I was feeling pretty good at that point. I was feeling honestly mostly excited.
She was in so much pain without the epidural, and then afterwards it kind of seemed like you could feel, but there wasn't so much pain that I think it allowed you to really be in the moment a little bit more, to remember everything that was happening.
Yeah, I have no regrets about that decision to have an epidural. I really felt like in such a good headspace at that point that I was just really excited to like start pushing and just ready to meet our baby. I didn't start pushing until an hour half after, actually, because it was at 6:35 when I started pushing. How are you feeling at that point when we were waiting for the antibiotics to get in so I could push?
It just felt so special. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, this is gonna be a very special moment.
Yeah, it was so special. That feeling of just like you're about to meet your baby is just like such a high. Like I seriously felt like on top of the world at that point. Just like, oh my gosh, this little sweet baby, we're about to meet him, and I just felt so excited. And
Before she even started pushing, they put a catheter on her so that she could pee through the catheter. But to me, just thinking of getting a catheter, and like probably it's more painful for guys, but just thinking about the catheter, I was like, whoa, starting to feel lightheaded.
don't look at this. Don't want to. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Just gonna sit down for a second.
Yeah. Don't look.
So they gave me some juice and I had to lay down for a little bit.
I'm just gonna lay down just to make sure I'm good.
They're bringing you some juice.
Yeah, I'm gonna help with that leg.
I was hoping that I could watch the birth because I was really excited to be there for the birth, but at the same time, things like super bloody or like surgery and stuff like that, it's hard for me to watch. Like one time I fainted when someone told me about their open heart surgery. So I wasn't sure how I would do during birth, but I was really excited.
Hold your breath in while you push.
You're doing great, honey.
You're sitting with this little juice box. You're doing great.
Just when you go over here, don't look, okay? I was so happy too because my mom was there. I'm just crying because I'm happy.
We gathered that.
And that like comforted me a lot too, just because I didn't know if he was gonna be able to handle everything well, but but you did. The second time I pushed, I asked the nurse if I did a good job, I remember, and she was like, not really. Got it. Got it. Is that good?
Not the best.
Oh,
but
sorry.
it's okay.
I should probably like try to get in Zen mode during the
Are you okay?
No, yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I just want to do it right. I think at that point, I just felt so like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna push out this baby and I'm gonna make every push good. It just like super motivated me. I was like, I'm not gonna have another bad push.
And it's true, the rest of the time you were pushing so well. All the doctors were like, yeah, you're doing great, you're doing amazing. And Lauren was such a champ. Everybody was so surprised about how amazing you were throughout the whole birth.
I think all the people in the room really made it really special. I was so proud of Josh too. Like, he was just really there for me and supportive, and my 2 friends were there. My doula came later on, and everybody was just so supportive and just made me feel relaxed. The room was just like so full of love. It was a really special time.
Are you just in heaven right now? Yeah. What? Like, everyone's skinny. I can't tell if it's the scene or the baby. But it's just like the giddiest room I've ever been in at 10 centimeters. Most people are like, get it out. Seriously. I hate everything. She is so calm. But she's just so like super peaceful, super relaxed.
It's just gone so well.
Yes.
It really felt like a moment that you just kind of wanted to almost slow down because you felt like it was going to be something that you wanted to remember forever. Lauren was amazing throughout the whole thing. One of the things that I remember thinking was just being so surprised that Lauren was so happy and positive, even when she started pushing and it looked like it should be super painful, but in between contractions she was like smiling and asking like, am I doing a good job? And we were like, yeah, you're doing great, you're pushing out a baby.
Yeah, I don't know, I've just like never felt so much happiness, which is like crazy because I always imagined birth being like a terrible experience until the baby's there, but actually like it was a really spiritual and special experience, pushing and just, I don't know, just imagining him wriggling down. I don't know if that's weird to say.
You can even see him wiggling. Like,
That's good what you're feeling right now, okay? That's him stretching you.
I've never heard a mom say I love feeling this.
It was, besides marrying Josh, like my favorite life experience ever, just giving birth. And honestly, like I don't want it to seem like I'm just saying everything was perfect because like I said, the contractions were really painful, but honestly, like the birth was perfect. It was so special. I would just do it all over again. Especially when the nurses would say that they could like feel his head, and when I could start feeling his head.
You can reach down and feel it, the head, you want to feel it?
Right there. That's his hair right there.
how much is out?
See, he's waiting, he's ready.
It just was the best feeling in the world.
It was so special. It really was. It was just this little angel is coming down to meet us. And it's just amazing what her body can, what a woman's body can do, pushing out a full baby.
Something that I really liked about that epidural that I got was it kind of like actually started wearing off, so I could feel my contractions quite a bit. Not crazy enough to where it was like excruciating, but just like to the point where I had feeling, and I could feel our baby coming out. That part was just so cool. I could feel his little hands. I don't know, this might be gross to somebody watching it, but to me it was so cool.
As you're pushing, you can see the crown of the head. The baby, when it came out, it just kept coming. Like it seemed like so big. Like I was like, oh my gosh, how is this? It didn't even seem like physically possible what was happening.
So you guess what time he was gonna come out? What was your guess?
My guess was 8:10 or something, and your guess was 8:35, and that's exactly when he came.
Mother's intuition, I
Mother's
guess.
intuition.
When do you think that you're gonna have a baby?
It's usually somewhere here now. Well then, I'm gonna guess 8:35. That's
Very normal.
No way!
I missed it. You guessed it right. Yeah, 8:35.
Like, are you kidding? You guessed exactly the time. No, are you serious?
When they laid the baby on my chest, it was just so special.
So our baby's name is Crew, and when they laid him down on Lauren's chest, he first off has tons of hair.
Yeah.
He had so much hair, and it was like this little friend, this little person that is our best friend, but we've never met, and we're so excited to be with. It was just a magical thing.
It felt like I was like so excited to get to know him, but then I kind of felt at the same time that he already knew us. There was just like that connection. It was almost like unexpected how strong I felt that connection.
Mm-hmm. In that moment, I was just flooded with emotion, flooded with so much love for this little baby. So curious on what he looked like, and so excited to just hold him, and it was just a magical moment.
One of the most special parts of it too for me was just getting to like experience this all with you, having you right there, and you were like so supportive, and you were such a champ being able to watch it, and like you watched it so much more than I thought you would even.
Me too, yeah. More than I thought I would.
You watched it more than me.
Well, you couldn't see it.
Well, yeah, but they like offered me a mirror to watch it, but I said no because I thought it might get me out of my zone. Just being able, like if I would have seen myself tear, or maybe it would like look like it was painful. I did not feel like it was the right decision for me, but you were able to do it.
Yeah. When she started pushing and the baby started coming, I was just like so excited. Plus, since Lauren didn't really tear till the very end, she had a little tear, but it was actually not as bad as I thought. I always imagined birth just like tons of blood coming out and just being really like intense, but it really was better than I thought. Right at the very end when his shoulder came out, I guess he bumped you a little bit and you tore a little bit, but I didn't even see that. It was just amazing. And I ended up cutting the cord too because they let me.
A little closer to there. Yeah.
Did you think it was cool, or were you nervous to cut it?
Yeah, well, I was just nervous having something sharp around our brand new baby.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was most nervous about, but it wasn't too bad. And then another thing is the placenta came out, and I thought that was going to be gnarly, and it is interesting looking, but to me it just looked like a huge jellyfish, which was crazy. One of the things I remember thinking about when Lauren was pushing, I remember just looking down at her. It was like a flashback of seeing all the times Lars and I have had together when we started dating and when we had our first kiss and when we got married and then traveling together, just thinking about all these special times in my life with Lauren. When I was standing there, I remember thinking, Josh, you really have to soak up this moment right here, because this is going to be another one of those highlight moments that you're going to want to remember for the rest of your life.
I feel like it was just flashbacks to seeing Lars for the first time and like dating. You're like, I can't believe it. Take a drink. Sure.
There's just so much emotion, and you just feel like it's so special that this little angel is just so special. Her plus the baby.
I just felt so much love from Josh, from my mom, from everybody in the room. I could not have planned it better. It was like way better than I could have ever even imagined. I don't have any regrets at all.
And then I got to hold him and just, oh man, it's just a crazy feeling holding this little child that's going to change your life forever. We couldn't stop looking at him after he came out and after we were there at the hospital for another day. The whole time we just couldn't stop looking at him, just couldn't stop.
It was just a
smiling.
dream.
Yeah, it was just like a little dream.
At that time at the hospital, just me, you, and Crew was so special. Even though it was exhausting because I was sore and he would cry and keep us up at night, but it was just the most special time too. It was like just our time to be together as a little family. And
it was better than I could have imagined. Just magical. That's the only thing I can think of to say. Is just so magical.
It was almost like you're treated as royalty at the birth center we were at. People would just bring us food when we wanted, and they would just take really good care of us, and it was just really nice because we could enjoy that time with Crew and just really get to know him, just us three. When he did his first poop or pee or burp or anything while we were there, I was just so proud of him, and I was just like, he's doing so good in this world. He's so amazing and he's so smart, and like the love that we have for Crew is just so strong.
There you go. How's that?
Oh, that's great.
There's a couple good sex.
You're so handsome. I just did it. You are the cutest little thing.
He was 8 pounds, which surprised us because the nurses and everybody was saying that they thought he was going to be just over 6 pounds. But when he came out, he was 8 pounds.
Yeah. I'm so glad because my doctor had been saying the whole time, like, he's going to be like 5 or 6 pounds, which makes sense because me and my brothers were all 5 or 6 pounds. I just expected him to be a small baby. And my doctor was like, yeah, like, you don't want him to be any bigger than that because you have really small hips. If she would have said he was 8 pounds, I think I would be a lot more nervous. So like looking back, it was a blessing that I thought he was going to be smaller because he was actually big. He was actually bigger than average. He had a doctor's appointment today and he's in the 70th percentile for weight and height, and then the 30th for head. So he has a small head, which maybe that helped a lot, I feel like, with just like pushing, because he didn't have such a big head. He's already gained 5 more ounces and I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's only 6 days old and he's already getting so much bigger than even those first few days, and you just want to soak in every moment with him. And
All right, so this is baby Crew.
he's been sleeping. He's so cute. This is our sweet baby Crew.
He's such a cutie.
I feel like since the moment we met him, we both said he has the sweetest spirit. He's seriously like a little angel. Something that I always think about when I think of Crew, like why I feel like he's so sweet. One of the reasons was because we were literally like about to do fertility treatment right before we found out we were pregnant. Literally the day after we found out we were pregnant, I was supposed to start fertility treatment. I don't know, you can watch my molar pregnancy miscarriage video and learn more about kind of like our journey. He surprised us on Mother's Day with a positive pregnancy test. And I just felt like it was like, I don't know, Mother's Day is a hard day when you've gone through like miscarriages and just struggling to get pregnant, and I just feel like he is like the sweetest spirit. That's the day that we found out we were pregnant with him.
Oh my god. Are you serious? Oh my gosh. This is like the best Mother's Day gift ever.
I feel like it was just like a time when we really needed him, and he's just been such a blessing in our lives already. I don't know, his looks? What do you feel like he's got from us so far?
Well, he definitely looks more like Lars right now because he has dark hair. His eyes are a little bit more squinty, and Lauren looked like a baby straight from Korea when she was a newborn. He has chubby cheeks and rounder face, which is more what I looked like. Lauren's family and her as a baby, they all had like a little bit longer heads. So maybe the shape of his head's more like mine, but his features look maybe more like Lars.
I think he looks more like me, but he has Josh's sweetheart. Babies change so much, so it'll be fun to see like how he changes and who he starts to look more like in the future. I love his chubby cheeks.
We're so excited to have this sweet baby. It's been such an amazing journey. The whole pregnancy and birth and everything. We just can't wait to see him grow and get bigger and hopefully make more videos so that we can remember him growing up.
Let us know like any videos that we should make, and if there's anything you'd like to see from us. Now we're a family of 3.
Now we're a family of 3.
Well, that's it. He says bye.